Hello friends, welcome to my channel Eccentric Learning. I hope you have gone through the previous video on simple interest and compound interest, where I have explained about the concept of SI and CI and also what is the difference between SI and CI. If not, the link has been given in the description box. Please go through it. Also, if you like the content of my videos, then do subscribe my channel and also share with your friends. In today's video, we are going to do some word problems on SI and CI. So let us start with that. Okay, so let us start with the first question today. The question says, find the simple interest on a principal of rupees 3,000 at 5% per annum for a period of 8 years. So we need to find the simple interest on this principal at 5% per annum, and for the time period given is 8 years. We know that the simple interest for a principal of P, time period N, and rate of interest R is given by P and R upon 100. So here P is 3,000. Rate is 5% and period is 8 years. So simply we need to use this value here. So this would be 3,000 times of 8 times of 5 upon 100. So if you calculate, this would be, so that's 30 times of 40. So that will give us 1200. So this is how, by using the formula, we can calculate the simple interest. Or else we can think in this way: the simple interest has to be calculated on this principal at 5% for 8 years. So instead of 5% for 8 years, can I say this can be thought of as 10% for 4 years? So in that case, we need to simply calculate the 10% for 3,000. So 10% for 3,000 would be simply 300. So this is the interest for 1 year, and we know that the simple interest is same for every year. So this is the interest for 1 year. So for 4 years, we need to simply multiply it by 4. So that will give us 1200 again. So either you can use this formula, which is PNR upon 100, or simply you can go by the logic to find the simple interest. Okay, so now let us see this question. Find the compound interest on a principal of rupees 8,000 at 10% per annum for a period of 4 years. So simply we can use the compound interest formula here, which is given by principal 1 plus R by 100 to the power n minus the principal. So here the principal is 8,000. 1 plus rate of interest is 10 upon 100, and period here is 4 years minus the principal, which is 8,000. So if you calculate this, this would be 8,000 times of, this would be 1.1 times of 4 minus 8,000. So we can take 8,000 common here. So this is 1.1 raised to power 4. So that will give us 1.4641 minus 1 here. So this would be 8,000 times of 0.4641, which will give us 3712.8. So the compound interest generated for 4 years at 10% per annum for the principal of rupees 8,000 is 3712.8. Okay, so let us now see this question. How much rupees 20,000 amount to in 2 years at 20% per annum, the interest being compounded half yearly? So here the interest is being compounded half yearly. So in 2-year period, there would be 4 6-month period. So that's why the number of periods in this case would be 4. Also here the rate of interest is given to be 20% per annum. So for the 6 month, the rate here would be 20 by 2, that is 10%, since it is being compounded half yearly. So now we need to find the amount. So we can directly use the amount formula, which is given as P1 plus R upon 100 to the power n. So if we use the value here, this would be 20,000 1 plus 10 upon 100 to the power 4, which is equivalent to 20,000 1.1 times of 4. So if you simplify this, this would be 20,000 times of 1.464, and this would be 29282. So that means the principal 20,000 will amount to rupees 29,282 in 2 years at 20% per annum when the interest is being compounded half yearly. Okay, so now let us see this question. A certain sum triples in 3 years under CI at a certain rate of interest. In how many years would the sum become 9 times itself at the same rate under CI? So such kind of questions can be solved by using the formula and also by using the logic. So I'll be showing you both the ways. So first, let us see how we can solve this question by using the formula. we know that amount at R% rate of interest for the principal P and for n period is given by A equals to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power n. The sum is getting tripled in 3 years. So if I take my principal to be 100, so I can say that the amount would be 300 in this 3 years. So I can use this formula. So this would be 300 equals to 100, 1 plus R by 100 in 3 years. So this is simply 1 plus R by 100 to the power 3 equals to 3. So this is one equation that we have got here. Now the question says that the sum has to become 9 times itself in how much time at the same rate under CI. So if I use the same formula, that is amount equals to P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power n. So in this case, amount would be 9 times. So that means amount would be 900. So this would be equal to principal, that is 100, 1 plus R by 100 to the power n. So here, if you simplify, this would be 1 plus R by 100 to the power n equals to 9. So now if you compare these two equations, this first and the second one, so we can say that 1 plus R by 100 to the power 3 is 3 and 1 plus R by 100 to the power n, that is some period, is 9. So now if I compare equation number 1 and equation number 2, I can see that if I do the square in equation number 1, I'll be getting 9 in the right hand side. So this 1 plus R by 100 cube whole square will give us 9, or we can say that 1 plus R by 100 to the power 3 into 2, that is 6, will be 9. So if I compare this equation with equation number 2, I can say that the value of n is 6 years. That is, in 6 years, the sum will become 9 times at the same date under CI. The same question can be solved using the logic as well. So let us see that. So 100 rupees is becoming 300 rupees in 3 years. So that means every 1 rupee is becoming 3 rupees in every 3 years. I need to check in how much time this 100 rupees will become 900. So 1 rupee is becoming 3 rupees in every 3 years. So this 300 will become 900, that is 3 times in another 3 years. Why? Because 1 rupee is becoming 3 rupees. So 300 will become 300 times of 3, that is 900 in another 3 years. So total 3 plus 3, that is 6 years, would be the time for a sum to become 9 times itself at the same date under CI. So you can see, simply by using the logic, we don't have to go via this process and we can reach to the answers very easily. Now suppose the same question has been given for the SI. That means a certain sum triples in 3 years, say under SI, at a certain rate of interest. In how many years would the sum become 9 times itself at the same rate under simple interest, that is SI? So we can proceed in the similar way, that is, we can either go by the formula and we can also go by the logic. So let us use the formula first. So the certain sum becoming triple in 3 years. So I can say that the amount is 300 for a principal of rupees 100. So we can say that the simple interest would be 200, and we know that simple interest is P times of n, that is 3 times of rate upon 100. So if you solve this out, so rate of interest would be 200 by 3. Now the sum has to become 9 times. So that means 100 rupees has to become 900. So we can say that the simple interest would be 900 minus 100, that is 800. So this would be for the principal 100, and we need to calculate the time period for the same rate, that is R upon 100. So this would be cancelled. So 800 would be equivalent to n times of R, and R we know this is 200 by 3. So if you simply solve this out, this would be 4. So n would be 12 years. So that means in 12 years, a certain sum will become 9 times under SI. Now let us see how we can solve this question without using the formula and by going with the logic. So I know that 100 rupees is becoming 300 rupees in 3 years under SI. So every 3 years, I am getting an interest of rupees 200. So this 100 rupees has to become 900. So that means I need to gain an interest of 800 rupees. I know that 200 rupees is being gained in 3 years. So 800 rupees would be gained in 3 into 800 by 200. So that is 3 into 4 years, which is 12 years. So such kind of problems can be solved either by using the formulas or simply by going with the logic. But I would advise all of you to simply go with the logic, because in that case, we can reduce the time to a significant extent, and it would be very handy for us in any competitive exams. Okay, so now let us see this question. Find the sum invested if the difference between simple interest and compound interest obtained at the rate of 4% after 2 years is rupees 160. We know that simple interest is given by P and R upon 100 and compound interest is given by P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power n minus P. So the difference between CI minus SI is given to be rupees 160. So now if we simply use the formula, this is P into 1 plus 4 upon 100 to the power 2 minus the principal minus SI, which is simply P into 2 into 4 upon 100, which is equals to 160. So if you simply solve this out, you'll be getting the value of P as 1 lakh rupees. So this is one way of solving this question. But if you remember in the last video, we have discussed about this. That is the difference between CI and SI for 2 years is given as P into R by 100 whole square. So this is given to be 160. So here we know that this is PR value is given to be 4 upon 100 whole square. This is 160. So if you calculate, this would be P into 1 by 25 square, which is 1 by 625 equals to 160. So P would be 625 into 160. So if you multiply this, this would be again 1 lakh rupees. Now suppose if you are unable to remember this formula and also we don't want to use this equation to solve the value of P. So how can we get to the answer? So let us try to see that. I know that the difference is 160 rupees and this difference is only because we are getting interest on interest for the second year, because for the first year, the SI and CI would be same. So whatever the difference we are getting, this will be only for the second year. For the second year, the additional amount would be the 4% on the interest on the first year, interest for first year. So can I say that this 4% on interest of the first year, this is nothing but this is 160. Now, this is 4%, that is 4 by 100, and interest for the first year, we can calculate simply as P times of 1 into 4 upon 100. So this is 160. So if you calculate, this is 4, 4, 16, and this is 160. So this would be 10. So P would be 100 times of 100 times of 10, which would be 1 lakh rupees again. So we can see that still if you are unable to remember this formula, and if you don't want to use this equation, then also we can reach to the answer simply by using the logic. So that's why it becomes very much necessary to know the actual concepts so that we can simply use the logic to reach to the answers. Okay, so now let us see this question. So find the difference between SI and CI obtained on rupees 20,000 invested at 10% per annum after 2 years. Interest is being compounded every 6 months or half yearly. So here the interest is being compounded 6 months. So we can say that for these 2 years, there would be 4 periods. And the rate of interest would be here 10 by 2, that is 5%. Since this 10% is per annum, so for every 6 months, the rate of interest would be 10 by 2, that is 5%. Now we can simply use the formula for SI, which is P and R upon 100, and CI, which is P1 plus R by 100 to the power n minus P, and use the values of this N, R, and P, and then we can find the difference between SI and CI. But you can see here that this would be a little bit calculative and it would consume us a lot of time. So let us not try to use the formula and let us try to go by the logic. I know that there are 4 periods. So let us denote it by period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4. And let us try to note down the simple interest and compound interest for these periods. So this is SI and this is CI, and let us now try to calculate the difference between SI and CI. I know that the rate of percent is 5 on this 20,000 rupees. So 5% 20,000 would be 1,000. I know for the first period, the SI and CI would be same. So CI would also be 1,000 and the difference would be 0. Now I know that the simple interest remains same for each period. So this would be 1,000. This would also be 1,000 and this would also be 1,000. I know that in case of CI also for the period 2, the interest would be 1,000 plus additional 5% interest on the previous period interest. So 5% on 1000, this would be 50. So this would be 1050 and the difference would be 50. Again, for the third period, there would be an interest of rupees 1000 and there would be an interest on the previous period interest. So this was 1000 and this was 1050. So that means 5% on rupees 2050 would be added up for the third period. So this would be how much? 5% of 2050. This will give us 102.5. So the difference between CI and SI for the third period, this would be 102.5. In a similar way, for the fourth period, there would be an interest of 1000 plus additional 5% of the previous year's interest, which would be 1000 plus this 1050 plus this 1000 and 102.5. So that is 1102.5. So if you calculate this, this would be 3152.5. So that means there would be an additional 5% interest on this amount. So 5% of 3152.5. So if you calculate the 5% of 3152.5, this would be 57.625. So the difference between SI and CI for the fourth period, this would be 157.625. So now if you add all these differences, this would be coming as 310.125. So the difference between SI and CI on rupees 20,000 at 10% per annum after 2 years, when the interest is being compounded every 6 months, would be 310.125. You can verify this answer by simply putting the values of P and R in SI and CI, and you can check whether you are getting the same answer or not. Okay, so now let us see this question. Ankit borrowed rupees 31,500 at the rate of 10% per annum compound interest. If this amount has to be repaid in 2 equal annual installments, then find the value of each installment. Okay, for such kind of question, let us assume that the each installment are of rupees X. So that means after 1 year, Ankit has paid an amount of rupees X, and again after second year, Ankit has paid an amount of rupees X. So after the first year, the total amount would be 31,500 times of 1.1, as there is a 10% rate of interest. So this would be 34,650. Now, out of this amount, Ankit has already paid rupees X. So the principal for the second year would be 34,650 minus X. And there would be an additional 10% on this amount, which would be the same as the installment, which is X. So if you simplify this, this would be 34,650 times of 1.1 minus 1.1 times of X equal to X. So this would be 2.1X would be equal to 34,650 into 1.1. So X would be 34,650 into 1.1 upon 2.1. So if you calculate this, this would be 18,150. So that means the value of each installment is rupees 18,150. There is also a direct formula to calculate the each installment, and that formula is given as, that is, each installment is given as principal times of rate of interest upon 100 times of 1 minus 100 upon 100 plus R to the power n, where P is the sum borrowed, R is the rate of interest per period, n is the period in which equal installments are being paid. So if we use this formula and if we simply use the values here, so this would be 31,500 times of 10 upon 100, 1 minus 100 upon 100 plus 10 to the power 2. So if you just simplify this value, you'll be again getting back the same answer, that is 18,150. So either we can go via this process, that is, we can assume the each installment to be X and then we can solve it in this way. Else we can simply use the formula for the each installment. So these are some questions which we have seen on SI and CI, but you need to practice many more sums, because the more you practice, the more you learn. So I hope you have learned something in today's video, but still if you have any confusion, I would request you to watch the video again. And also if you have any doubts, you can put it in the comment box. I'll try to answer each one of your queries. And if you like the content of my videos, then do subscribe my channel and also share with your friends. I'll see you all in my next video. Till then, keep learning, keep sharing, and keep growing. Thank you.